In late 1943, Japanese and German military commanders were stunned by what their intelligence revealed. The United States was building fully operational airfields on Pacific islands at speeds that defied all engineering logic. On Bougainville, aerial photos showed American fighters already operating from newly built runways, despite the fact that the jungle had only recently been cleared. In Berlin, reports described construction of bases in time frames so fast they were dismissed as propaganda. What neither side realized was that the Americans had weaponized something no one else had: construction. The secret was the U.S. Navy's construction battalions, known as the Seabees. Born in the wake of the Pearl Harbor attack, the Seabees were a revolutionary idea. Skilled civilian tradesmen militarized into combat-ready construction units. Rear Admiral Ben Morrell, recognizing that civilian contractors couldn't safely or legally build in active war zones, pushed for their creation just weeks after the war began. By January 1942, the first Seabees were being trained, not just to build, but to fight while building. These weren't typical military recruits. Many were in their 30s or 40s, some older, and came from every corner of America's workforce: electricians, plumbers, equipment operators, engineers, and carpenters. They had built skyscrapers during the Depression, and now they were tasked with building the infrastructure of victory, often under enemy fire, in the world's most hostile environments. Their first major test came at Espiritu Santo, where they were ordered to build a 6,000-foot airstrip through dense jungle in just 20 days. With barely any equipment and under crushing heat and rain, they succeeded on time. Japanese planners assumed the Americans would need months. Instead, bombers were landing in less than 3 weeks, long before Japanese defenses were ready. At Guadalcanal, the Seabees repaired bombed-out runways overnight. Craters left by 500-pound bombs were filled and compacted within hours. During heavy naval bombardment, they kept Henderson Field running, building under shell fire, working through the night, and proving to Japanese commanders that their damage could never outpace American repair speed. What made this possible wasn't just manpower, it was innovation. The Seabees used Marsden matting, interlocking steel plates that turned dirt into instant airstrips. They pioneered coral-crushing techniques to make concrete-quality runway surfaces from island terrain. They brought portable asphalt plants, mobile machine shops, and prefabricated buildings. While Japanese engineers still use hand tools and forced labor, the Seabees brought the full force of American industry to the beach. Island after island, they proved unstoppable. On Vella La Vella, they built a fighter strip in 10 days on swampland the Japanese deemed impossible to develop. At Bougainville, they constructed airfields while Japanese snipers and artillery fired on their bulldozers, which they armored with salvaged steel to keep working under fire. On Saipan, they repaired and expanded an airfield while enemy tanks still roamed the jungle just miles away. Their masterpiece came on Tinian. After the island's capture in mid-1944, the Seabees were tasked with building the largest airbase in the world. 6 runways for B, 29 bombers, fuel for 16 million gallons of aviation gasoline, and housing for 50,000 men. Japanese engineers had said it couldn't be done. The Seabees did it in 67 days. From this base, the atomic bomb missions would later be launched. The scale was staggering. Entire ports, airfield, hospitals, and cities arrived by ship packed into crates. Liberty ships carried entire knockdown airports, control towers, radar stations, hangars, even refrigerated mess halls. Seabees could unload, assemble, and operate a 100-bed hospital within 72 hours of landing. They weren't just following the Army. They were arriving with it, building under fire, and making each new island a forward operating base almost overnight. The psychological impact was enormous. Captured Japanese diaries speak of despair, how swamps became cities, Mountains vanished overnight, and runways materialized from jungle in days. One soldier wrote, "We prepare to fend for months, but they need only days to destroy us. We are fighting gods who reshape the world." It wasn't hyperbole. The Seabees were moving faster than the enemy could react. By the end of the war, the Seabees had constructed over 100 major airstrips, 4,500 piers, thousands of bunkers and fuel tanks, and housing for more than 1 million troops. They operated on over 300 islands and moved more earth than was dug for Panama Canal. And they did it all while under fire. What took Japanese forces 6 months to build, the Seabees could do in 2 weeks. Their legacy was more than just engineering marvels. They shattered the enemy's assumptions about time, distance, and feasibility. The entire Japanese and German defensive strategy relied on the idea that Americans would take months to build what was needed to advance. Instead, the Seabees flipped the equation. They advanced by building, and built faster than the enemy could destroy. In the final analysis, the Seabees didn't just build bases. They built victory. They redefined warfare not by firepower, but by construction speed, showing the world that in modern war, the ability to create could be more decisive than the ability to destroy. Against the crushing weight of bulldozers, steel, and American ingenuity, the old timelines of war simply couldn't hold. Their motto was simple: can do. And during the war in the Pacific, those 2 words changed history.